Today is hot and steamy, so I've got my carrot team assembled. Little man, this is redemption from last year. So last year when we had the wild garden where the pond is now, young David here planted some carrots and they didn't do very good, did they?
We got like 10 carrots.
10 carrots, yeah. So we're gonna share this bed and we're gonna harvest them. Now we did something different in this bed this year. So what we're gonna do, David, is we're gonna make 3 separate piles. The first row will go in one pile, the second row will go in another, and the third row will go in another because each row has different spacing for the seeds, okay?
Okay.
And then also we're gonna harvest our garlic. So we're gonna do a bunch of work in this bed, but I'm gonna break it up into multiple videos. So today is the carrot harvest, and then we'll discuss the spacing and the garlic just to get it out of the way. All right, and as of late, you can see we're kind of maybe racing against the storm, but we'll see. So here's what we're gonna do, David. This is a double row. So if you look here, this is a row.
Got it.
And then from here to here, and then from here to here is a row, and then from here to here is a row. So we're gonna put the first row right here, the second row here, and the third row there in a nice neat pile.
Okay.
Okay? All right, we've been waiting a long time to do this. A 90-day crop, yeah, right. Get to pulling. Yep.
Look at that guy.
So you're gonna have to go quicker than that. So you take the front of the row and I'll take the back of the row. And watch out, this might be an ant pile.
Where are the carrots?
We're getting some carrots, I know that much.
Yeah.
All right, you keep pulling. I have to converse with the viewers. We did for the spacing, so far as the first row was easy, right? So we came in, we sowed, and once everything's clear, I'll show you how I sowed. Are you eating a carrot with dirt all over it?
Yeah.
God made dirt and don't let hurt. So I'll show you how I planted them to make my spacing a little bit easier. And then the second row is a little bit more difficult because it's kind of towards the middle. And the third row, we just kind of left it as it was because I wanted to see the size difference. And that's what we're looking at here. I hate spacing carrots. So we're just gonna, hopefully it won't be a difference, but I got a feeling there's gonna be a big difference. Keep going. Not every carrot's gonna be huge though.
Yeah. At least we're getting a lot. And they're good sizes.
Yeah, these are good size so far. All right, that's the first row. And as I was going through, it got a little bit hectic, but as we were finding them that were well spaced, we were getting good sized carrots out. And you can see we definitely have some baby carrots and stuff like that in there, but these are some pretty good sized carrots, I'd say. Now, as far as variety goes, we're just doing simply Danvers carrots. These are the ones we sell in our seed shop through the Backyard Gardens podcast.
Is it?
No, it's just discolored. There's a lot of times in nature, there's anomalies and deformations and coloration. So that's why you can't just go by coloration. There you go. Make sure you shake the dirt off. The more dirt we take out, the more we got to shovel in the winter. Not looking good, huh?
Nope.
You saw that one laying on its side too?
Yeah, this guy's got like a mini carrot.
Yeah, he does. A bunch of carrots. And then some of them as well, trying to like that, they get kind of stuck. And I don't really care. These will break down in the soil, but we just want to get them. We can still can these and do that. So while my man's pulling, our plan with all these carrots is obviously we're gonna eat some fresh, but we're gonna can a bunch of them. I don't like canned carrots by themselves, but if you mix them with a little bit of maple syrup or honey, it's really good. A little bit of cayenne pepper, a little bit of honey, maybe a little bit of cinnamon is really good. So just kind of different ways to use the carrots, and it makes an excuse to grow a whole bed of carrots. Okay, so I believe we're done with 2 rows. So David, start on the second row. Look at this guy. You know what this is?
No clue.
You don't know what this is?
No.
This is our one parsnip from last year that survived the hurricane. Look at that, one parsnip.
It's Rudy.
It is Rudy. All right, so you start pulling the rest out. Watch out for the garlic on the end. We're gonna do that last. And I'm gonna talk about these over here, okay? All right, so these are the first 2 rows. This is the first row, which is well spaced, and this is the second row. So if we come in here, there's some pretty good sized carrots in here. And there's more carrots, but they are less in size compared to the well-spaced row. So yeah, that's a big difference, I think. And let me just show you the spacing. It's kind of a mess on this back row, but let's look at this real quick. So you can see they're just all in here, right? There's no, in my opinion, there's no real good way to plant carrot seeds easily. Well, that's not too bad.
It looks like
I think they're getting a little bit smaller in size. Yeah, they're definitely getting smaller in
it
size.
looks like they're smaller, but like more.
Yeah, okay. So we'll keep going through. Go through here, then we're gonna pull the garlic, which is grocery store garlic that I've grown from a grocery store bulb. This would be my 3rd or 4th year on the same stock that I bought, meaning I bought it from a grocery store. I just bought regular organic garlic. I got 6 bulbs for $5, and I've saved them every year since, and I've been very happy with them so far. But this year, the one issue is these carrots overgrew them, so I'm not really sure what's gonna be in there. We'll find out. 3rd row is done. And you can see we still have decent sized carrots, some of them, but they are significantly smaller. So if we go from no spacing whatsoever, and I'll go over in a minute how I planted them. So these were no spacing. These were pretty good spaced. So you get a good look at those. And these were pretty well spaced. I'd call them well spaced. It wasn't perfect, but definitely can see the difference. Now, if you ask me between these 2, it's kind of a toss-up, honestly. What do you think, David?
I'd rather have the second row because you get more and they're a good size.
You think so?
Yeah, because if you get like whenever they're really thick at the base, it's hard to chew.
Yeah, and David is a carrot master, so okay. So there you go. So we'll probably do a combination of this. This is good though because you do get a lot of baby carrots to can that are easy, so we may do a little bit of that too. This is just a simple way to do your planting to fit your needs. So if you wanted to can baby carrots, plant them close together. You know, you could plant a baby carrot variety, but all carrots will grow small if they're too close together because there's not enough root space for them to grow. So there is that. And we did have 2 carrots that were rotted in the ground, so we caught it at the right time. Now let's do this grocery store garlic real quick. Grocery store garlic. Let's see.
This guy's small.
It ain't great, but it ain't terrible.
You get some garlic at least.
It's not the garlic though, it's the gardener. It was meant to be pulled a while ago. This one's being a bear.
This one's pretty big.
Good size. Yeah, not bad. We'll make a little pile over here next to the carrots. As far as our garlic goes, it was okay. I think the carrots overgrew them a bit. And this is the first time I planted the 2 together. This one didn't even get any separation, so we don't even know. So, but that was my fault. I tried something new. Typically what I do is I plant onions and garlic together, but I made the decision not to grow onions this year. I'll grow them next year or this fall into winter, but we made the decision not to, and I think we just paid the price. It is what it is. Garlic's cheap enough, and we do have some to eat, so it's not a huge deal. While my man is over here weeding the garden bed, we'll go over how I planted the carrots. So what I did, and if you're new to the channel, I'm just gonna say this every time because it's easier. I have in-ground drip system, you can see here, that we put in. So what we do is we plant a row, a double row on each side, right? So what we know about carrots is they can be planted close together. Look at this. Chicken food. We might have to put the chickens on here for a couple days. I don't know. Nah. So what we do is I would go through and I would get my carrot seeds, dig a little furrow. And when I say a little furrow with carrots, I mean little. You literally just that deep, that's it. And I typically what I do is I would just, cause you know, seeding carrots is a pain, and I would just kind of run them down and it would just be a nightmare. So what I did this year, I'll use this as an example, is I would come in and I would do a sprinkle here and a light sprinkle there and a light sprinkle there, so on and so forth, all the way down. So what that did is that allowed me, whew, it's hot, man. It's like 87 degrees and 90% humidity already. What that would do is it would leave definite separation in between the carrot plants as they grew. So I already had a good starting reference point for thinning. And then as we came through, I thinned in stages actually. And the good thing about carrots is you kind of thin them before everything, you know, before the garden really starts kicking into high gear. So you got a little bit of time. And I would thin the outside edges. And then I would come back a week or two later and then I'd thin another outside ring around them until I got, you know, I wasn't trying to get them down to just one, but I was trying to get them down to as few as possible around the area. And if, you know, if we had a bundle of plants here and a bundle of plants here, and they were kind of spread out a little bit, because sometimes they don't, what we would do is we would cut in the middle of a bundle and then create a space so we would have more to plant, and that's more to grow. So that's how we worked that as we did through, and obviously it seemed to work out pretty good. So as far as fertilization for the carrots, I don't believe I put bone meal down. I wish I would have. That would have been an extra pop for them. I did not give them any extra nitrogen other than the well-balanced fertilizer that I put in. So the fertilizer I use is like an 864. So we did that, and I think it got a couple doses of 20-20-20, but we didn't put in any blood meal. We didn't put any, I've been using some Chilean nitrates. Didn't put any of that in, nothing like that. And then that seemed to work well. The one thing with the garlic and the carrots together is because garlic at first needs a lot of nitrogen to kick up the greens. So if we have the garlic here and the carrots here, and we needed to keep feeding it nitrogen, well, the garlic was in the ground. You can keep weeding, David. Okay. The garlic was in the ground a lot longer, so we were able to give it significant nitrogen up until the carrots were planted, but then we had to stop, and that's what held us back. So we need to be on top of that better this year. And I think really the answer is simply what you plant with it. So garlic and onions both need a lot of nitrogen up until the point of bulbing, so we can keep that fertilization consistent with that bed. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go back to doing one double row of garlic and then the rest onions. And I believe in this bed, we can put 85 onions in that bed with a double row of garlic in there. We did put 96 before, and I think we'll cut it down by roughly 10%, and that'll give us a little bit more space, and we'll just work through it that way. But yeah, keeping those nitrogen hungry plants together really makes a big difference. So it just depends on what you want. You know, I'm not totally butthurt about the size of my garlic. I'm hoping that I can find some cloves for next year just to kind of keep it going and go back to the drawing board. But if not, I'm just gonna go back with regular grocery store garlic. It works well. It's a lot cheaper because in our area where we grow, we have to get our garlic in a lot later. So everybody's sold out, and I got tired of fighting with it. So, and Danvers carrots is a nice, simple carrot. Nothing crazy to them, but there is a lot of carrot, and we are gonna continue to grow those, and this is our carrots for the year. So the question is, are we going to grow another crop of carrots for fall? And typically, I would say no. But because the garden's set up the way it is and it's all functioning now, I think we are gonna try and do another round of carrots to harvest, hopefully late fall or early spring. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how many carrot seeds I have, but that's the plan as of now. So how did your carrot harvest go? Have you planted carrots? What kind of carrots have you planted? Let us know in the comments below. And just don't forget, spacing is really important, and you can do it your way. Say bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.